All right, what is going on, my dudes? Look, before we even get started today, I want to show you guys this Bulbasaur hat that I got because I think it is just absolutely adorable. We'll place that right on top of Turtwig's head there. He can hang out with that. But anyway, we are going to jump into the best rank 4 options, in my opinion, for June, July 2023. Now, if you're watching this video the day or the week that it's uploaded, well, you might know there's a big sale coming up rather soon. If you're watching this right after that, well, guess what? It just happened. This is going to be the only best champions to rank 4 video I make in the next 2 to 3 months or so. So while this upcoming weekend, there's probably going to be a lot of rank 4 materials either in gem form or in catalyst form. A few months from now, that might not be the situation. So this weekend, if you want to rank 4 Groot, because why not? It'd be funny and you have a lot of expiring resources because of the sale, do it. Go for it, right? But if you're only picking up a few things, maybe you're not buying anything at all, maybe you have a smaller account, you want to know the best champions to rank for, well, guess what? That's what we're going to be jumping into today. But before we do, quick little key. The new is obviously going to be like a newer champ, not really accessible to most people. We have the 7 for, you're going to be in the 7-star pool, either now or in the future. And we have a little horse for a stable rank 4 roster. Speaking of that, we should throw these guys up here. There we go. It's going to look a lot better. Let's start it up with the skill class. Lots of amazing skill champions nowadays. We have Kingpin, Zemo, Valkyrie, and Nick Fury. The top of the skill class is so good. We've talked about all of these champions extensively in the past. Every single one of them is great on offense and defense, which is something that's very valuable nowadays for a lot of reasons. Battlegrounds being the main thing. If you have a champion who's very strong on offense, who's also very strong on defense, that's a big plus for a rank up, right? Kingpin, of course, is a wall. Zemo is super punishing. Nick Fury has 2 lives. And Valkyrie, in the right meta, she could be a really obnoxious defender. I've died to a Valkyrie myself in the past. I forget which meta it was, but she could be a little bit annoying with that purification mechanic that she has. And of course, they're all great on offense. But moving on to some great options in the skill class, we have Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop's damage output is kind of nutty, dude. She's a little interesting to play because she has the perfect release mechanic. So a lot of people weren't the biggest fans of that with Hawkeye. Hers is a little bit more forgiving than his is. However, his was also updated with her release, so maybe give him another look. But Kate Bishop is really solid at rank 4, even at rank 5. The damage output is pretty darn nutty, especially if you combine her with the America Chavez synergy. That's going to increase the number of her trick arrows up to 3 from 2. So I could see her definitely being very useful for future long-term content. She's also very useful in battlegrounds, more so on offense than defense in my opinion. I feel like she's not the best defender. A bunch of people realize you just can't stun her and hit her really. But yeah, Kate, great champ. Mole Man, amazing 2-way as well, right? Mole Man, even after the nerf, he's still fantastic. Atuma got a much larger buff than I was anticipating. Now, one thing with it, preferably does want to be like pretty much like close to max sig, so you could start with the 2 concussions guaranteed, makes him really rough on defense if there's no counter, and actually makes him very solid on offense, whether it's a great matchup for him or not. In the right matchup with lots of debuffs, non-damaging debuffs, he's pretty freaking insane. You go for a special 3 with like 99 concussions, which is pretty easy to get to in certain matchups. And if they're bleed immune, the physical vulnerabilities are ridiculous. If they're not bleed immune, they're going to be pretty much bleeding out. So Atuma, great champion nowadays. Shang-Chi, fantastic champion, doesn't even really need to be awakened. Of course, he gets a benefit from it, but he is going to be in the first Titan pool, which who knows when that's coming out, but he is going to be a 7-star eventually, sometime in the next couple of months. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your rank ups. While on the subject of the 7-star thing, I feel like, you know, being cautious of taking 6 stars to rank 5 who are going to be 7 stars is super duper valid, but I myself wouldn't be like too worried about taking those 7-star champions to rank 4 for right now. But that's just how I view it. Crossbones, fantastic champion, going to be in the first Titan pool as well. He's going to be ridiculous as a 7-star. However, it's going to be hard to get him to a high sig, and a high sig Crossbones is absolutely ridiculous in high debuff matchups. We have Stealthy, the guy hits like an absolute truck. Falcon, not my favorite champion, right? But a lot of people love Falcon. Very useful, can shut off a ton of stuff. He is in the 7-star pool though, keep that in mind. Then we have Debatable down here. We got Mantis, who is in the 7-star pool. The only reason why she's in Debatable is because not a lot of people are going to be into her high-risk playstyle. Personally, one of my favorite champions in the entire game. Love her to death, right? Her damage output is pretty freaking ridiculous. She's also getting a buff very soon, going to make her damage output even higher and actually make her safer to play, but we'll make a video on that in about 2 weeks or so, and I'll go over all of that. Hitmonkey is a ton of fun, definitely a pretty underrated champion nowadays, I think, but he's definitely someone who's on my radar to take to rank 4. I think he's a very fun champion, plus he's a freaking monkey, so that's a lot of fun. Agent Venom, down and debatable because a lot of people don't like champions who, you know, need synergies, but if you synergize Agent Venom, he's honestly one of the best champions in the game if they're not immune to bleed or incinerate. It's pretty insane the damage output that he puts out with Scorpion and Kraven. It's like actually kind of illegal, like how powerful it is. It's like ridiculous. But yeah, he does need 2 synergy members to do that. Moondragon has the new tag, not even in the featured 6-star yet, but she is very good. I feel like she was a little overshadowed by Adam, right? You can see a new tag up there in Cosmic. Adam's pretty busted. Moondragon's really good though. Moondragon is definitely a high skill champion where you have to play her optimally to get the most out of her, but if you're into that kind of thing, she could be really good for you. She's very powerful in the right scenario. Mcoc, man. Mcoc is a new addition to the list. I think he's very good and very underrated. I think that at rank 4, he could be a great rank 4 option, right? Especially for stuff like Battlegrounds. He's consistently very good in there if you know how to really maximize that guy. And then you have Korg. Korg's undebatable because, you know, if you don't really care about Battlegrounds, you're not really going to want to rank up your Korg. Plus, he's also a 7-star, and he does kind of need to be like 200 in order to be super duper useful on defense. But yeah, of course, keep in mind as well, Korg is definitely very usable, like the Mojo synergy, and is it the Ragnagod synergy, Valkyrie synergy as well. But yeah, he can be doing some really good stuff, synergized properly. But he could be a very good rank 4 option if you're super into Battlegrounds, man. He's going to be a great defender for you. Moving on to Science. The Science class, arguably the best class in the game nowadays. Every Science champion who's released is just so freaking good. Before we even get into Science, I want to say Jessica Jones is not on the list because she's pretty much only paywalled right now. So I don't want to be like, yeah, Jessica Jones, best one to rank 4, but I'd say she's like a really great option to rank 4. Mine is rank 4, but that's just why she's not on the list. But anyway, Scorpion, just ridiculous. Scorpion is just a ridiculous champion, like literally in every single game mode. So Scorpion, Spidey 2099, some of the best passive power control in the entire game. Buff immune, so good. Preferably wants to be at a super duper high sig though. Quicksilver, just so much utility in this guy. Counters evasion, counters miss, does a lot of really good burst damage. Plus he's pretty cool. A lot of people don't like his animations. If you don't like his animations, you don't have to force yourself to like his animations. Don't rank him up. That's totally fine, man. It's totally fine to not like popular champions. We have Spot. Spot is such a fun dual use champion. I will say, by the way, real quick, that Quicksilver is actually a very solid defender, in my opinion. But yeah, Spot, so good both ways. I feel like he's a little overrated on defense, in my opinion. I never had like the biggest trouble with him on D, but I mean, I usually fight him with Zemo in War, so I guess that he kind of like hard counters him. But just in general, if you know how to like counter a special 1, special 2, so you stop his spots and everything, you know. But he is going to be a 7-star. One thing about that, though, is that he preferably really does want to be at a higher sig in order to really maximize him. I made a video about that, going all over how to maximize him, his sig ability. Go check it out if you are interested in that. But yeah, Spot, fantastic rank 4 option, amazing attacker for Battlegrounds type stuff, and just so much fun to play. Moving on to great options. We have Mr. Negative, mine is rank 4. The dude's an absolute monster. He is going to be in the first Titan pool. Titania, possibly one of my most powerful champions on my entire account right now, my 7-star rank 2 Titania. She's been seriously one of my favorite champions in the entire game since her release. She's so ridiculously good. Like, so incredibly good, does so many things to counter the Mystic class. She's buff immune, so many debuffs. She's so good. Cassie Lang. Cassie is a great champion. She is a lot of fun. She's also very fun with the Ant-Man relic as well. I should probably add like a fun with relic key as well, maybe for the next one. But yeah, Cassie, great fun champ. Immortal Abomination, this guy is still an absolute beast. He's a decent 2A. There are a lot of poison immune champions who can counter him very well nowadays, but he's still very useful on defense if they don't have a poison immune counter, like in Battlegrounds, for example, or a non-contact hit counter. Then it might get a little rough, right, going up against Immortal Abomination, but the dude is a bit of a beast both ways. Overseer. Oh, I just hit my microphone. That might have been very loud. Hopefully I remember to edit that out. But Overseer is in the 7-star pool. However, in my opinion, the guy gets a really big benefit from a decently high sig. So yeah, I personally would probably rather have like a sig 200 6-star Overseer over an unduped Overseer 7-star, but those 7-star stats are pretty potent. Not the best defender in my opinion if you know how to fight him, because he just constantly heals you with willpower, but very good on offense. He's just an absolute like tank on offense, this guy. Human Torch got a little horsey for you really like only want to rank this guy up if you have a stable rank 4 roster, right? I'm talking like 20+ rank 4s, just because other science champions just cover more ground as opposed to just being a total nuke against Mystic champions. But Human Torch is a total nuke against Mystic champions even at rank 3, but as the game progresses, as 7 stars exist, 7-star rank 2s are now common, rank 5s are much more common, right? So against like a rank 5 Doom, against like a rank 5 Rintra, rank 5 Absorbing Man, rank 2 Mangog, that kind of thing, you'd probably want a rank 4 Human Torch. Mr. Fantastic, the guy is very solid across the board. He's very good on defense, he's very good on offense. Not the fastest on offense, but very reliable at what he does. He's very good at what he does. Moving on to debatable options here, we have Sandman, who has the new. Personally, I feel like Sandman is one of the most underrated champions in the entire game at the moment. There's somebody in my battle group with a rank 5 Sandman, and we've been sending him out in war. Very strong attacker for that kind of stuff. Lots of utility, triple immunity, bleed, poison, and shock. Also has that resistance up as well, and he just has a very satisfying playstyle of like building up his charges and then rooting them with like the 3 or 4 heavy attacks in a row. I really like Sandman a lot. I'm interested to see like how he evolves with the game, but those triple immunities are very strong. Cap Infinity War, still a great champion nowadays, right? I just feel like there are other science champions that do more than him that I would rather rank up personally, but Cap is a great champ, especially if Cap is 200. Joe Fixit in the 7-star pool. He does really want to be Awakened though. The dude is very underrated. He's very potent. He's a very strong champion. Plus he's cool. He's a gray Hulk in a suit with a Tommy gun and a fedora. Very cool. We have the thing, pretty self-explanatory, right? Not the best attacker for battleground stuff, but of course he's always going to be relevant on defense. However, champions like Falcon, Crossbones, Black Cat, etc., right, kind of like rip right through him. Also Tiger as well rips right through him. But you know, for stuff like incursions as well, also questing with the champion synergy, he's going to be very decent on attack as well for that kind of stuff. So he is a decent 2-way champion, just not super useful on attack and like battlegrounds type stuff. Just keep that in mind. You have Piggy. Piggy is a great 2-way champion, man. I feel like Scorpion kind of made Piggy super duper underrated. You have like Scorpion, Cassie, and Piggy as like your Power Sting champions, and there aren't really too many champions immune to Power Sting. The only one who kind of like gets around it in a way is Moondragon, but it's the same kind of thing as like Kingpin shrugging debuffs, or like Zemo cleansing the debuffs, right? Or like even Nick Fury purifying the debuffs. So, you know, skill champions counter them, but that kind of makes sense. But yeah, the pig can do a lot of damage, man. He's very good, and also he's very decent on defense as well, and he's great with the Ant-Man relic. Next, we have Void. Void just one of those classic champions. Very, very potent still. I feel like, you know, Spidey 2099 does power control better than him. Mr. Fantastic does heal reversal better than him. So does, like, you know, Anti-Venom, Human Torch as well when it comes to, like, you know, actual heal reversal. But Void is still a very solid champion. Could be worth a rank 4 if you're into the champ. Personally, I do feel like he is a bit outdated in 2023, though. Just because that RNG for the Petrify in the beginning, when you really need that utility, you know, they're a champion to, like, have that guaranteed utility there. Moving on to Mystic, you got Rintra, you got Tigra, Dr. Doom, and Absorbing Man. All 4 of these champions are just so good. Amazing two-way champions. Tigra, not the best defender in my opinion, but she could totally catch you with that special too if you don't know how to dex it, depending on the meta. But of course, Rintra, a ridiculous two-way. Absorbing Man and Dr. Doom as well. All 3 of those champions just super duper potent both ways. You have America Chavez, who is in the 7-star pool, but this champion, man, I have been, like, playing her non-stop recently as a 7-star, and she is absolutely freaking incredible, man. I feel like I didn't, like, give her enough attention when she was buffed, but she is, like, a really good Mystic champion nowadays. Like, she is in the 7-star pool, doesn't need to be super duper high sig. I would definitely go with the 7-star over the 6-star, but if you don't have the 7-star and you have Mystic Catalyst and you're like, who should I rank? Kind of digging America Chavez, it'd be a really good rank up for you. She is very useful. Plus, as good as she is on offense, she is that good on defense as well. She is one of the most annoying defenders in the entire game, dude. She just throws those heavy attacks like it's her job. It's ridiculous. Diablo can't do much on defense, but on offense, the man is potent. If you run the Suicide Masteries, he's basically unkillable. Great champion. Mojo, a great two-way as well. A lot of people view Mojo as, like, mostly an attacker. My rank 4 SIG 200 hardly ever sees the defense side. I always use him on offense, and he is fantastic for it, by the way. The Hood. Ooh, the Hood. Great champion, man. Especially, like, you know, offensively. But he's very, very good. The invisibility is very, very strong. Especially if you pair it with Mystic Dispersion as well, with, like, a moderate amount of buffs on the opponent. You can cycle those special 2s, stay invisible all day. Very great champ. Wiccan, one of the better 7-stars in the pool, super duper powerful, great 6-star as well. Doesn't need to be super duper high sig, but he definitely benefits from it in longer fights. But in those Cosmic Defender matchups where, like, they get buffs on contact, like Gore, Hulkling, those types of champions, Wiccan is always going to be one of the best options for that. Absorbing Man kind of came in and took a lot of Wiccan's, like, best matchups, like Null, Arcus, for example. You're just better off using Absorbing Man, but Wiccan is still very, very good. Black Widow Clairvoyant, so many Black Widow Clairvoyant fans out there. Of course, she's a great champion, right? She's got 3 phases, depending on what you need: the bleed immunity, poison immunity, incinerate immunity, burst damage, power steal, regeneration. Great champ, lots of fun, suicide friendly, smooth animations. What more can you want? Juggernaut, this guy is an absolute freaking nuke, dude. He is an absolute nuke. He is good for so many things. He is going to be in that first Titan pool. He's going to be a very potent 7-star, dude. So of course, keep that in mind when you're ranking. But yeah, doesn't need to be awakened as well for a 7-star. Going to be a good one. Debatable, we have Dragon Man, who's a very decent two-way, Sasquatch, who's a very decent two-way, right? Of course, they're both going to be in the 7-star pool. Dragon Man does not need to be awakened at all, but Sasquatch really kind of does want to be awakened at a decent sig to be really good on defense, but even unduped, he's going to be pretty potent on defense as well. But yeah, even like at a lowish sig, he could be okay, but the 6-star rank 4 SIG 200, if they don't have like a counter to his healing, will probably be a timeout. I got Spidey Supreme. He's an interesting one to me. He really wants to be like high sig. Mine's rank 4 SIG 200. I like him a lot. There's a lot of fantastic Spidey Supreme gameplay on YouTube, but I feel like he's a little overrated on defense because you can counter him just by not using your medium attacks, but he can also punish you very, very hard if you don't know how to fight him. So you really have to know how to fight him, or use a proper counter and completely turn him off. On offense, he's quite potent, especially in the right matchup, has some decent utility against those Cosmic Champions, but lots of buffs, can steal those buffs, can reduce the potency of them, and can spam those special 2s, right? One thing about him, though, that's a little interesting, he kind of wants 5 out of 5 Mystic Dispersion for his damage, but that could shoot him up to special 3, which could be a detriment to the special 2 burst. So yeah, he's a bit of an interesting champion, but overall, he is quite good. Mine's rank 4, no regrets. Sigil Witch. All right, so I changed this to Scarlet Witch both because, you know, depending on your preference, the OG Witch might be better for you, Sigil Witch might be better for you, but yeah, they're both very, very solid champions. The original Scarlet Witch preferably does want to be used with synergies, like the Quicksilver one, for example, makes her very, very potent, but Sigil Witch does not need any synergies at all, and they're both very, very solid, especially with Mystic Dispersion. You got Ebony Maw, always going to be relevant on defense, and a bit of an underrated attacker as well, especially at a higher rank. That degen damage is going to be increased ever so much. So yeah, he can be a very, very solid rank 4. Then he got Longshot. Longshot gets the little horsey icon for a stable rank 4 roster because he can just absolutely melt things at rank 3 as well as he can at rank 4. So yeah, he is a fantastic champion. Great, great, great punishing defender as well. So that's definitely some fuel to the rank 4 fire, the defense capabilities plus the combat power rate increase as well. But yeah, in the right matchup, Longshot's going to absolutely mess things up. All right, Cosmic. What a powerful class. We have Hercules, Galen, Hulkling, Adam Warlock. Adam busting in to the top options, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, like, all 4 of these guys are just like top Cosmic champions, amazing two-way champions. Just really, 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 really good stuff. Really good stuff there. You know, keep in mind, Adam Warlock still has this balancing stuff. I think it should happen before he even gets into the featured crystal. I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, he's like very, very good right now. So he definitely has a chance to get toned down. Who knows? But we'll have to see. Very, very, very powerful right now. Moving on to great options, Cosmic Ghost Rider, man, he's an absolute nuke. He's even more of a nuke at rank 4. The combat power rate increase is going to make getting to special 2 with him that much easier, and that's definitely very, very, very important when you're using Cosmic Ghost Rider often, because it's all about that special 2 in the shorter matches when you want to get there quickly, right? You have Null, incredible two-way champion. Absorbing Man and Wiccan have definitely reduced his defensive value a little bit, but if you run Inequity, he becomes an absolute wall on defense, and he's pretty freaking ridiculous on offense. 7-star Null is going to be absolutely insane. He's going to be in the first Titan pool. He's going to be a 7-star Null in like Abyss or Future Everest content is going to be insane. It's going to be insane. The Sig ability won't really matter as much for the 7-star. It's going to be crazy. Cersei, one of my favorite rank 4s. Absolutely love her. Fantastic two-way. I actually like her more on offense than defense, believe it or not. She's so much fun to play. Gore, great champion after his buff. A lot of people feel like Gore is a top 5 Cosmic champ nowadays. Personally, I disagree. I don't think he's that good now, but he's very, very good, much improved. On defense, he can be an absolute wall if you don't have a counter. However, there are a lot of counters to him. You know, any neutralized champion, any champion who reduced the duration of buffs, nullified champions, right, stuff like that, Longshot, Wiccan, those type of champions are really, really good against him. Hyperion's going to be in that first Titan pool. Pretty crazy, man. I feel like 6-star Hyperion came like so late into the 6-star life cycle. Now we have 7-star Hyperion within the first like 3 months. Absolutely insane. A duped 7-star Hyperion is going to be kind of ridiculous, man. So if you happen to luck into that in the future, congratulations. But that's still a decent bit away, so a rank 4 Hyperion could be a great, great option for you. Corvus, of course, you know, is always going to be relevant for certain things. It's, you know, I gave him the horse it's interesting to me because it's like, you know, you're really not going to be using Corvus outside of like Alliance War, Alliance Quest nowadays. And if you're really focused on that, you might not even need to have the stable rank 4 roster. But at the same time, you know, a lot of Alliance War defenses are like Corvus mission proof, right? You're just, the way that like story content is headed, where like health pools are like 800,000, stuff like that, it just definitely decreases Corvus's value a bit. But where Corvus is good, when he can get his Corvus charges, he's still absolutely freaking insane, man. So I don't know, Horsey Icon or not, Corvus could be a great rank 4 option if you play the gameplay modes that he's good for. King Groot, pretty much unkillable, right? With how common 6-star SIGs are nowadays, you can get this guy to SIG 200, take him up, you'll never have to use another item for the rest of your life. Pair him with Diablo, and you'll be good to go. All right, moving on to some debatable Cosmic Champs down here. Arcus. Arcus is fun. Arcus is fun, right? Is a decent 2A. Again, the champions like, you know, Absorbing Man, right? Wiccan, they kind of lowered his value a little bit. Also, there's also like Sasquatch, right, who's immune or resistant to the cold snap. Just something to keep in mind. Silver Surfer, he's in that first 7-star pool, right? He is definitely underrated. I wouldn't recommend rank 4ing Silver Surfer over other Cosmic Champions, though. In the 7-star pool, I actually would, because he's one of the better Cosmic 7-stars in my opinion, especially if he gets duped. He's actually pretty potent. But when it comes to 6 stars, you know, it used to be like, you know, Silver Surfer's #1 prestige, but now there are other like top 5 prestige options with the same amount of prestige as he has. Plus also 7-star rank 2, like SIG 20, SIG 40 is like matching his prestige. So it would be more of like a band-aid if anything. Angela. Angela's really, really good, especially at a high SIG, especially if you pair her with Odin, right? For stuff like incursions, by the way, one of the best incursions champions. She is absolutely incredible in there. Really great for stuff like Hazard Shift, Biohazard, right? Nodes that are going to put debuffs on you, damaging debuffs. She's pretty much like immune to them at a high SIG. So yeah, really, really solid stuff. Terrax, very underrated 2-way champion, right? Especially at SIG 200, especially as a Herald. But keep in mind, he is going to be a 7-star, even like SIG 20 Terrax. I think I would take that over SIG 200 6-star. Just keep that in mind. But I wouldn't do unduped Terrax. Medusa. Medusa is a new addition to the list, and so is Venom. Both are great, great Cosmic Champs. They're a bit older, but they're very, very solid. Medusa doesn't need to be high SIG. SIG 1 is good. Go check out Kat Murdoch's channel. She's uploaded some of her rank 5, rank 4 Medusa gameplay. She's very potent, dude. She is a very, very solid champion. As a 6-star nowadays, she'd be a great 7-star. Venom, great 7-star to have. But yeah, Venom gets the job done, man. He counters the spiders, he has the buffs, he has decent damage. He could be a decent defender depending on the meta as well. You never know, you know? All right, moving on to tech. We got Nimrod. Nimrod is just absolutely incredible, man. If there's a mutant champion that isn't named like Storm, who's immune to shock, Nimrod's gonna rip right through them. Nimrod's like one of those champions who's like probably too good, you know? He's just like so tanky and so potent with that special 2, and not just against mutants. That's the thing. It's like against mutants, he builds his stuff faster, which is great. But like he's very good against non-mutants too. Like he's very, very, very good. I feel like he's a little overrated on defense because he just heals you the entire time with the debuffs, but he's still a bit of a wall, right? But yeah, just a great, great champion. Future Ant-Man is so good, man. He's actually getting buffed too in a way. So his glancing wasn't working ever. So now on top of being the tank that he is, he's going to be even tankier and getting like a 50% chance when he glances to like reduce ability accuracy to 0 and make it so like they can't be crit, right? All while like regenerating as well. Plus he's a ridiculous attacker as well. Really great tech champion, fantastic 2-way champion. Very good for like pretty much everything right now. Good for war, good for battlegrounds, good for questing. The only place I wouldn't want to use him is like Abyss level health pools, and even that he could do, but I wouldn't really recommend him in there. But yeah, Ghost, self-explanatory. Infamous Iron Man, absolutely love that dude. He's so good for countering a lot of great mutant defenders. Great for Apocalypse at the beginning of the fight. Apocalypse has 0 prowess. You know how he starts with 2 prowess? He has an energy vulnerability instead. Best Bishop counter in the game. Absolutely insane against Bishop. Pretty much like any defender, you want to get them into the corner, get them the 3 bars of power, combo, heavy, special 2, and they're going to take a lot of damage. Infamous Iron Man, great champ. Moving on to great options. Buffed Shuri is unbelievable, dude. She is so good. The amount of utility that she has, coupled with the damage output that she can reach very quickly and easily now, is absolutely insane, man. She honestly has like an argument to move up the top options, in my opinion. I feel like in 3 months, I might switch these two because she is so freaking good now. It is unreal. It is unreal. The only thing is, she is a 7-star. She does not need to be awakened to be really, really good, so you might want to hold out, but Shuri is unreal. Penny Parker, great 2-way champion. Better on offense than defense, in my opinion, nowadays, because of champions like Gallon and Hulkling and Adam Warlock, right? Kind of just like turning her off. Even Gore turns her off, right? That kind of stuff. But yeah, still a great champ, and if they don't have a Penny counter, she could be great on defense. Omega Sentinel, a decent 2-way champion, never been my favorite. I feel like one day, though, she will be a 7-star, and I feel like she'll be a great 7-star. The increased combat power rate and the increased stats seem like it'd be very, very, very solid for her. But there is a new Lady Deathstrike synergy that increases the duration of her pause by, I think, 3 seconds or 2 seconds or something like that. That goes a long way in making her less stressful to play. Speaking of which, Lady Deathstrike, if you happen to look into getting her already before her arena, before her crystals went live, yeah, she's a very, very solid champion, man. I feel like people are like underrating her like crazy right now. In my opinion, she is the best Weapon X counter in the game right now, even better than Nimrod. She just turns every single thing he does off. Her ability to tank special attacks are very, very, very useful. Her damage output is also very good. People are saying it's bad. I don't understand why. She doesn't have big yellow numbers, but all of her damage are in the ruptures. I think it's because they tick individually, so you don't see like a big number ticking that people think it looks like she has bad damage. But she just like does not. She has so many ruptures that stack on top of each other that tick down the opponent very, very efficiently. She's very great for countering the mutant class. We have Warlock, who's of course going to be in that first Titan pool. Oh, and by the way, every new champion going forward now is going to be a 7-star. So Lady Deathstrike, for example, is going to be a 7-star in the first Titan pool. Warlock, always going to be relevant, right? And he's going to be in that first Titan pool. Great champion, great 2-way champion. Howard the Duck, one of my favorite champions in the entire game. Unbelievably underrated. One of my favorite rank 4s. Could also be decent on defense with the right meta. If like there are stuff interacting with armor up us, for example, we saw that in that armor burn meta in the battlegrounds, like season 3 or whatever it was. Ultron is a great champion, especially at a high sig. He's already immune to bleed and poison. He becomes like resistant basically to incinerate and shock, right? With the sig ability, plus he peels back energy damage, which is very, very useful. You have Stark Spidey and Debatable, man. Stark is a great champion, man. Mine is rank 4, Sig 200. He's a lot of fun. He is a lot of fun. You have Vision. I put Viv down here in Debatable because mine is rank 4, Sig 200, and overall, you know, her balance review is coming up. Overall, I've been a little disappointed with her all throughout. However, in the right matchups that she's supposed to be doing, she's incredible. Like, for example, like against like an Apocalypse and Battlegrounds, for example, right? Like rank 4 versus rank 4, she's insane. Shreds him in 45 seconds. Other mutants, right? Even like non-mutants, right? When it's like rank 4 versus rank 4. But as soon as it's like a less than ideal matchup, you just like can't really use her effectively. She has such a very rigid playstyle for a payoff that's very, very good in the right matchup. But for a champion that's tuned so specifically for like Battlegrounds health pools, you know, your opponent is not going to put down like an Apocalypse, a Sauron, when you have a Viv right there. So that kind of thing kind of like lowers her value like a little bit for me. Because she has such that rigid playstyle, and your opponent can just kind of plan around it in a way. So I hope she gets like a bit of an offensive buff where the opponent can't really play around her too much, and you could still use her for those non-ideal matchups as long as you do the gameplay ask of playing her in a specific way. You know, I feel like that should yield a bit of a higher payoff, if that makes sense. Nebula. Nebula's damage output with the shocks is absolutely insane, to be honest. Plus, higher health pool for the block damage that you take while you're building your EMP charges. Yeah, Nebula is just a really, really solid champion. Great at countering robots. Very relevant for Alliance War, decent in Battlegrounds. A great questing champion. Great champ. She would be an insane 7-star, by the way. Sam Wilson. Sammy Wilson, now that 6-star SIGs are more common, giving SIGs to Sam is definitely very viable. He does want to be at a high SIG, in my opinion, in order to get the most of his damage output, which even at SIG 200 is a little bit underwhelming, but he has a lot very decent utility and counters the mutant class very well. His auto block is very, very nice, in my opinion. I like that quite a bit. Do I not have Shocker on here? Shocker has to be on here. Hold on. I'm just gonna do this because I can't like rearrange the whole thing here now. But yeah, Shocker is a great rank 4 option, man, especially for stuff like Battlegrounds, for War, for like EQ, casual questing, stuff like that, for the smaller health pools. His heavy attack is kind of freaking ridiculous, man. So Shocker can do a lot of incredible things, especially against like the mutant class who have prowess, right? Like Sauron, Kitty Pryde. He can do some really, really crazy things against them. But moving on, we have Guardian. Guardian does want to be at a very high SIG, but like we were just talking about with Sam Wilson, getting these champions to high SIG at 6 stars is a lot more viable nowadays. Now, Guardian, by the way, gets a huge increase from the Hulk Buster Relic, a very, very, very large increase. Guardian is a fantastic champion, a very solid rank 4 option, right? Also a decent 2-way as well, because he is a bit of a time waster on defense. Then you have Rocket, who is in the initial 7-star pool, and the guy is an absolute monster on offense, especially as a 7-star. Yeah, I mean, like, the thing with Rocket is that he's a little squishy, but as a 7-star with stat focus, you can increase his block proficiency. That's really, really good. So a duped 7-star Rocket is a lot of fun, but a 6-star Rocket is also a lot of fun. You really do want him duped, though. Moving on to the mutant class. Apocalypse, self-explanatory. Kitty Pryde, self-explanatory. Omega Red, self-explanatory. Danny Moonstar, welcome to the mutant class. We haven't had a new mutant for a long time, and she's a banger. She has top 5 prestige. She's really, really solid on offense. Doesn't really do anything on defense, but she's really, really solid on offense. Lots of fun to play as well, man. Lots of fun to play. Moving on, Domino, man. Domino, here's the thing. Domino is a 7-star. Give me a rank 4 SIG 200 Domino all day, every day over a 7-star rank 2 unduped Domino. All day, every day, man, in my opinion. You got Strife, right? Strife is a great, fun champion, especially for stuff like Abyss, stuff like Labyrinth, right? If you're looking at doing Abyss or planning for future Everest stuff, Strife could be a great option for you. Professor X, just very great pretty much all over the game. Semi-decent defender as well. You have Bishop, who's just absolutely cracked, man, on both offense and defense. By the way, Strife is going to be in that first Titan pool. But Bishop, man, is just incredible. But kind of like Domino, I'd rather have a SIG 200 rank 4 over like an unduped 7-star. So he gets those unblockable specials on defense, you know, like easily. But yeah, even unduped, man, he could be punishing on defense with the incinerates and everything and the block damage on special too. You have Toad. So underrated. Toad is a great champion, a decent 2-way. A lot of tech champions nowadays counter Toad, you know, like for example, Nimrod destroys him, Ghost destroys him, Future Ant-Man messes him up, Infamous Iron Man messes him up, Shuri messes him up, Omega Sentinel does really, really well, Lady Deathstrike does amazing against him, you know, Shocker does really well against him. So yeah, a lot of tech champions mess him up, but on offense, he's very good for fighting a lot of skill champions who purify his poisons. He's a lot of fun there. Weapon X. Weapon X is a fantastic two-way champion. One thing about him, you preferably do want to be running deep wounds, so keep that in mind when you use him. Archangel. Archangel is a lot of fun, of course, especially if they are not bleed or poison immune. He shreds them, but he kind of goes along with Human Torch for me, and like you want to have a stable roster before you rank for the Archangel, because until then, he's going to get the job done at rank 3 in my opinion, but he's just an absolute monster. If they're not bleed or poison immune, he's going to be a great option, unless it's like Cable. You don't want to bleed Cable. Moving on to debatable. We have, you can see here, I don't gotta hide my face, Iceman. Iceman got a great buff. He got a great buff, he really did. He's still, for me, defender first, and Battlegrounds, I put him on defense more often than not. He chips down the opponent's health. I've gotten a lot of kills that day, a lot of wins that way. He does the job for me. Colossus, gonna be in that first Titan pool. A lot of people love Colossus, man. I'm not the biggest fan personally, never have been, but he could be a very solid rank 4. He could do a lot of things. Magneto Red, I gotta hide my face for a second because he does have the little horsey. He has a little horsey there. Okay, because he absolutely could get the job done at rank 3, even against rank 5, even against 7-star rank 2 for the time being. He's that powerful against metal champions, especially bleed immune ones, and he'll always be relevant, but he can be a very solid rank 4 option as well, and he's a decent defender. You have White Magneto. White Magneto's a great champion, very underrated. He can be a very great rank 4 for you. You have Namor. Namor is a great champion, man, especially with the like Atuma buff, who's now one of the best defenders in the game. You have Korg as a 7-star, right? You have champions like Mcoc, who are bleed immune, who's very relevant defender, right? Namor could be a very solid rank up in my opinion. He really doesn't want to be Sig 200, but it's the best Thorns counter in the game. Then you have Wolverine. Wolverine is very solid as a horseman, especially with the Wolverine relic. Mine is rank 3 Sig 200. I would maybe rank 4 him, but I don't know. I don't make horsemen too often. That's the only thing. But as a horseman, he's pretty freaking nuts, man. But just keep that in mind. All right, this is my rank 4 list. This is my rank 4 list. I do hope you guys enjoy this. I hope it helped. Now, again, I want to reiterate, whether you have a giant roster or not, this is all my opinion. If you have like 10 rank ups pending because of a big sale, let's say you're watching this in 2 years, and you have 20 rank ups pending because of a big sale, rank whoever the hell you want at that point. Rank up Groot because it would be funny at that point. But if you have like 1 3 to 4 gem or something like that, and you're like, man, I'm trying to just get through Act 7, Act 8, what's going to be like helpful to me? And you know, you have a Hulkling there, and you have like, you know, a Wolverine there, and you're like, which is going to be better? That's what this video is for. Just Hulkling, for example, is just going to be more useful. You know what I mean? Overall. So yeah, this is my list. It's my opinion. I'm pretty happy with it. Pretty set with it. Again, like I said, Jessica Jones would be on it if she wasn't paywalled. I guess Sigil Witch is paywalled, but there was an arena, so that's fair game. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop your boy a big old like. Let me know what you think about this list in the comment section below. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future lists coming to you probably very soon, because we got to update the other ones too. I'll be seeing you around.